In 2014, a short film known as Dave was pitched to Netflix to see if we can actually get a series that would revolve around the bizarre incidents that occurred before Resident Evil 1 took place. Now, I never knew about this Arklay series pitch until you guys pointed it out, so the only information I have about it are articles. So apparently this show was revealed back in 2014. It was still in development at the time. It was written and directed by Sean Libert. It wasn't entirely clear as to how official it was going to be with the Resident Evil lore, and around 2017, the creator Sean Libert released a proof of concept short film on Vimeo titled Dave. Words like Resident Evil or Arklay aren't shown, but it was definitely meant to be called Arklay. But sadly, it was rejected, and all we got was this short film to let us in on the tone of the series. The creator had this to say when he released the video. Overall, the purpose of this was to show the tone, its attention to character, and the slow build of the massive conspiracy. There was a document the detective locates that connects to the universe, raising questions about internal conflicts with key figures from Raccoon City's government and forthcoming Bright 21 project and its police department. Dave was part of that problem to the world and deliberately hid it from his brother, which is what makes Reinhardt's story so personal. We had two edits, one of which had that letter and the other was without. If I had to go the original route, which what you're seeing now is the latter, I'm still adamant about it becoming something as it's more relevant than ever with the things like DNA manipulation and such. Here's a short summary of the video as well. When Detective James Reinhardt is thrust into a series of bizarre homicides, he unravels the city is hiding a dark conspiracy, learning a fatal virus is connected to it all. Reinhardt discovers it's already coursing through him. With no time longer on his side, he must solve the conspiracy to save his own life. I won't say anything else about what happens in the video, as I highly encourage those of you who haven't seen it to check it out. The link will be in the description. There's also an online game that was released for anyone who wanted to solve the mystery themselves. If you're interested, both links will be in the description. So here's my opinion about the short film. I cannot believe that this concept was shoved aside when everything about this short film was a perfect example of a Resident Evil adaptation. We have had over 9 Resident Evil movies come out, and not a single one of them was worthy of being a perfect example of a true Resident Evil adaptation. And this short film proved that it could actually be pulled off. But of course, living in this fucking world, we gotta bury the treasure and worship the turd. I just don't get it. Why can't we have a good Resident Evil live action adaptation? Why is it so fucking hard for a studio or whoever the fuck is in charge to give us what we want? But now that Resident Evil 2 Remake is on its way, we can at least be glad that Capcom is giving us a new but close take on Resident Evil 2. Netflix has given us a lot of great shows, but this has got to be their worst decision yet. Not as bad as Blockbuster's decision to buy out Netflix when they had the chance, but it sure as hell feels like shit to know that we actually could have had the perfect live-action adaptation of what a Resident Evil TV series would have been like. Those makeup effects were perfect. The atmosphere, the location, the cinematography, the actors, the dialogue, the music, the mystery, everything was done right. Now in the end, I can sort of understand why they decided to pass on this project, mainly because if all references to Resident Evil are removed, it's basically a detective story with zombies in it. However, that's exactly what the original Resident Evil games were like. So it would have been the perfect Resident Evil adaptation. But for someone who doesn't know that this is exactly what Resident Evil is all about, then they probably saw this and thought that it would just be another generic zombie show that's trying to be like the Walking Dead series but with detectives. So if they saw things that way, then they must have been like, forget it, let the Sci-Fi Channel get their hands on it. But little did they know that it would have been the perfect live-action adaptation of Resident Evil that would please all fans of the series, at least the fans of the classics. And maybe if the show was made, then we would have had better Resident Evil games come out around 2015 till today instead of having to wait for a remake to give us what we want. That's probably the only thing that would have made Capcom realize that RE fans don't want another generic zombie shooter, and what we really want is what made the series great in the first place. So that's as much as I can say about this Resident Evil TV series pitch. It was perfect. Major props to the crew that made this short film happen. I hope you guys know that you're the only ones who pulled it off, who actually pulled off the perfect Resident Evil adaptation that all fans have wished for. You did what Paul W.S. Anderson could never do with over 6 movie adaptations, and even Capcom. They've given us 3 CGI movies, and even those ones can't compare with this. I wonder though, if all references to Resident Evil were not present, did the creator originally include them? Was the Detective Reinhardt actually meant to be someone else, such as Barry Burton or Enrico Marini? Hopefully Netflix gives it a second look, but only this time they acknowledge the fact that a lot of people are begging to see the series come true. So again, I hope that Sean Lebert knows that he pulled off what Hollywood and even Capcom couldn't do. Congratulations, man. If idiots weren't in charge of these decisions, I'm sure we would have had a few great seasons to nourish our taste for a good Resident Evil live-action adaptation. And with that said, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, be sure to leave a like, share with others, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you'd like to see some extra content, or you'd like to see your name at the end of the videos, then feel free to support the channel by donating a single dollar to my Patreon. There are also additional perks for donating more than $1. The link is on the description, along with the link to my Facebook page, Tumblr, DeviantArt, and Twitter. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.